In last lecture, we discussed attitude formation, where we discussed how a consumer should develop attitude. We also discussed various characteristics and functions of the attitude, and we discussed tri-component model. We also discussed the Lewis and Stigner model. In this video, we are going to discuss industrial buying behavior. Very important part from the consumer point of view. Generally, when we say industrial buying, basically here we talk about B2B buying. B2B buying is business to business buying. Now, the question is, why do we study about industrial buying? What is the rationality behind studying industrial buying? The reason being, the scope of management is not only limited to a sales executive or sales manager, right? Where you make a channel sales, you just make various dealers and distributors, and finally you start selling your product through the dealer and distributor. There is another aspect where you can make your career bright. That is your corporate selling. So when we say corporate selling, there's a difference between the channel sales and the corporate sales. When we say channel sales, basically the channel sales is all about your B2C, where you make dealer and distributors, and with the help of your dealer and distributor, you sell your product to the ultimate consumer. But when we say industrial buying, when you say corporate sales, basically here you are talking about B2B sales, because you are a part of a corporate, and the customers is also a part of the corporate, right? So industrial buying is a little bit different here in terms of that. Industrial buying is all about purchasing product in bulk. You purchase product in bulk. You purchase product in huge quantity. There is involvement of crores of rupees, lakhs of rupees in that. Since the involvement of money is very high, and since the involvement of quantity is also very high, so of course the decision makers will also have to make a right decision, because your one mistake could make you a loss of lakhs and crores of rupees. So when we say industrial buying or organizational buying, basically it is defined as, I've divided this definition into 4 different parts. The one is decision making process, by which organization establish the need for purchased product and service, and identify, evaluate, and choose amongst the alternative brands and suppliers. What I do here, we divide into 4 different parts in order to understand industrial buying behavior. The first part is a decision making. Of course, you also make decision in consumer buying. You also make decision in industrial buying, but there is a difference in terms of the level of decision. In consumer buying, even a salesperson can make a decision, right? But that easily decision is not possible in terms of industrial buying, because the top level people involved in making a decision, right? Second is, so first is the decision making process. The second is, here company organizes a need for purchase product and the service. Why company tries to understand what exactly my colleague wants, and how I should satisfy the need of the colleague, so that we both of us do a business. So companies tries to understand the need for the purchase product and service. And the third one is, companies try to evaluate and choose amongst the alternative brands and suppliers. Very, very important part of industrial buying behavior. And that is your selection of the brands, and the suppliers. Making supplier as your partner is not an easy task, because in industrial buying there is involvement of large amount of money, and you do all things on credit generally. So you have to make that supplier who believes on you and you believe on the supplier. Suddenly, if there is upsurge in demand and you start searching your supplier, so might be you will not get the supplier. But if you have a good relationship with your existing supplier and there is an upsurge in demand, and when you talk to a supplier regarding the raw material, supplier can give you that particular raw materials, right? So the basic difference between the consumer buying and industrial buying is, consumer buying is, the consumer is the ultimate user, but industrial buying means the product is manufactured for other business purpose, for next business purpose. Here we fulfill our objective by making the product. Other industry fulfill its objective by giving the product. We both makes the product and finally sell the product for a further use to the end consumer. For example, I talk about if Intel chips for computer. If I talk about the JK tires for X automobile company. So automobile company X wants to purchase tire. So JK Tire says, I come with you and I'm providing you the tires which you want. Of course, the X automobile will demand the tires in huge numbers. So here it is your industrial buying. Now, what could be the types of the industrial buying? Who could be the participants of the industrial buying? Because there are so many participants. One is agriculture market. For example, NABARD. You might have heard the NABARD, Agriculture Board. You might have heard about the FCI, Food Corporation of India, right? Reseller market, Big Bazaar, for example. I purchased quantity in bulk from the X company. I sorted it into different parts. I packed the sorted forms, and finally I sell it to the consumer. Resell. First, that X company sold me the product. I changes in the product, and I resold the product to the ultimate consumer. Government market, where government is involved. For example, if I talk about the SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited. Steel Authority of India Limited, having softwares need, and company goes for example, Wipro, and Wipro provides all types of service to the SAIL. This is part of the government market. Service market, very simple. Aviation industry, telecom industry, right? I know that I'm from Jet Airways, for example, or I'm from Go Airways. I know that the managers from the X company visits different part of the world on regular basis, on frequent basis. So I just make contact with the senior authority and I say, wherever you go, rest of the world, Whenever you go, you just give us a call, and just 5 minutes before we will book your seats. In general, say this is not possible. In general term, I'm saying depends upon availability of the seats, depends upon certain conditions. But if Go Airways makes a deal with, for example, Reliance Industries, so that is a part of a service market. Non-business market, NGOs, very perfect example. I want to do business, but not at the cost of making profit, but just at the cost of giving utilitarian benefits to the end users. It's a non-business market. No need to say international market. Nike wants to enter, Adidas wants to enter, Dell wants to enter, MACD wants to enter in different part of the country. So naturally the, the deal will be of international market. So these are the participants who are playing very important role in industrial buying. This is basics of industrial buying. We are coming with the next part, and here we are going to discuss the characteristics of industrial market. Thank you so much.